Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Welcome to the live stream and happy Tuesday to you if you're watching it in real time. If you're catching the replay, this was recorded on Tuesday, October the 14th of 2025. So definitely, obviously it's a timeless message. So hopefully we'll have a really good time tonight. I'm going to give a few moments for some folks to come into the live stream and then we'll get started. And I do hope everyone is doing well out there. These energies are energying, that's for sure. Hello, hello. Hey, Yamini, welcome, welcome. Hey, Rose, welcome in. How are you? Welcome to the live stream. Appreciate you joining. I hope everybody's having a beautiful Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on what type part of the world you're in. But I definitely hope you're having a good one. Tonight we've got to talk about some stuff. Well, hey, Miss Yates, how are you? Welcome in. How you be? You doing good? All right. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I spent my most of my day today. I've been feeling I was so sleepy the past couple of days. I don't even know how and why I'm so sleepy, but it was insane how sleepy I've been. Hey, Quindarius, how? I haven't seen you in a minute. Welcome. Hey, Paul Snowcloud and Niana, welcome in. Welcome. Yeah. I'm doing very well. Thank you, Rose. I really am. And I hope you are also. Hey, Robin, welcome in. And I got to thank Miss Robin. She gets to be the star of the live stream tonight because in our WhatsApp group, she shared a video off of the best of Billy Carson. We share a lot of different things, but I've been kind of down that rabbit hole on that website today. Yeah. Well, some folks, unfortunately, it's odd though. The trolls, I tend to forget. I kind of sort of remember them, but I don't really remember them until they really get rocking out. But all the good folks, I try to remember. Yeah, I try. But in any event, Miss Robin shared a video off of the best of Billy Carson. It was called "The Bible's Greatest Lies Exposed." Ooh, awesome, awesome, awesome. I need to every now and then I go through and get rid of some and then I wind up I'm kind of like you. I'll see something and it hits me so profoundly that I subscribe to the channel and I'm thinking what and then I have to go back every now and then and realize, wait a minute, how long has it been since I watched this channel? And then I have to get rid of some, but I've got a ridiculous amount of channels I'm subscribed to, so I'm gonna have to go and do some cleanup too. Hey Ahmed, how are you? Welcome in. But yeah, y'all, if you have not, whether you choose to stay on this channel or not, I would encourage everybody within the sound of my voice, please go to the best of Billy Carson and subscribe to that channel. Oh, you like it? Actually, I'm trying to think, I think it was Natalie Rose. It was either Natalie Rose or Mermaid on the Moon who requested that I wear yellow today. So I'm hoping they get a chance to see that I am obedient, if nothing else. But thank you. I appreciate it. Honestly, I used to hesitate to wear like solid yellow or solid orange because people are mean. Like I said, I've been heavy my whole life. Now I don't really give a rap happy, but back then I hesitated to wear it because I didn't want to be called Hey Kool-Aid, Big Sunshine, or the Great Pumpkin, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I like all the colors now. I went through my black phase, but at the end of the day, who am I kidding? I'm still big and black, so I might as well. I'm gonna be big in any color until I lose the weight, so I might as well add color to my life. Look, color therapy. But yeah, I was familiar with Forbidden Knowledge, which is one of Billy Carson's channels. I was also familiar with um, he's got Forbidden Knowledge Official, 4BK TV, Billy Carson Official, and then today or well, it was last night, I guess, but I got introduced to the best of Billy Carson. And the reason I like that one is because a lot of times when Billy gets on a roll and Billy is doing Billy, his videos can get rather long, especially the live streams. And I don't always feel like sitting up listening to an hour and a half. I may not always have an hour and a half because I'm trying to get some things together for you all or whatnot. But on the best of Billy Carson, he's pulled out some wonderful nuggets. And the one that she led me to was the Bible's Greatest Lies Exposed. It was with Paul Wallace. And I am so loving the fact that he's teaming up with Paul Wallace lately because I understood that he understood the viewpoint that I kind of sort of have, the understanding that I have of the scriptures. But a lot of Carson's content has been very focused on um, the paleo contact aspect of it, and the government's lying to us, and the temples and the all that's kind of stuff. He that's his niche, that's his bag. He's wonderful about it, but that's not quite my area that I wanted to talk with. I'm more along the line of what Paul Wallace is into. But I have noticed they've done two or three collabs recently, and I'm loving the fact as knowledgeable as Carson is, when he gets into discussing things with Paul Wallace, he just is very much sits back and lets Paul kind of do his thing. He's more the student than the teacher, and it's a beautiful discussion. And this one today was like that too. Hey, Broken Beautiful. Yes, indeed, it's been forever. Welcome in, my love. Welcome, welcome. You said Billy, yeah, Billy Carson. And again, I wasn't familiar with the best of Billy Carson either. And I actually had one time, I haven't used the app in a long time, but I even had his app. I think it's the 99 or something. One something about, I forgot the name of the app exactly, but yeah, the best of Billy Carson. And he has a lot of things that are starting to ramp off into the spiritual piece that we're discussing, the ways that religion has kind of, there's been subterfuge there, the things that they've hidden, the things that they haven't told. And they still get into the Anunnaki aspect to a degree, which he certainly does in this one that I'm mentioning. But then after that, I just, y'all, when something interests me, I get like a dog on a bone and I continue digging and digging. So after that, I watched They Lied About Who Yahweh Really Was. That's fascinating. I actually had to cut that one short to get on here tonight. There's one, the Bible lied about the real story of Yeshua. Religion lied about Jesus and the Emerald Tablets. And one of my favorites was they lied about Jehovah's Witnesses in the Bible. Now, I think Carson has a somewhat of a history with the witnesses. I'm not sure, but for sure I did. And I mean, everything that he said, I was well aware of. A lot, he was talking about how a lot of the modern witnesses that are coming in later years, they don't know the real history and backstory of Jehovah's Witnesses. But I mean, I was an old school witness, born into that from birth, so I was well aware of the things that he was saying. Except one thing I did learn. Thank you, Joyce Lucas, and welcome into you, dear one. Today we, like I said, we just we could talk about whatever y'all want to. I was just starting out with that because I wanted to encourage everyone. If you have not subscribed to Best of Billy Carson, go to that channel and subscribe because it's cutting it down into like little 20 and 30-minute conversations. He's pulling the snippets out that are really, really beneficial, and it's kind of, you can tell this Billy is going through some kind of a transformation. What he's interested in is starting to become more aligned to the things that I'm interested in, and I'm loving that confirmation as well. I'm just little old me, but when Paul Wallace is leaving comments on my channel saying that I'm doing a good job and I'm right on point and I'm really understanding things, and Billy Carson is going and interviewing and collaborating with Paul Wallace from halfway around the world, they've got the resources and the membership and all this other stuff that I don't have, but to understand that I did understand correctly, and these people who have devoted decades of their life to finding out some of these things are confirming the things that I'm learning, I'm absolutely blown away and I love it. Um One of the things he brought out, and I can't remember, I think it was in the video about who Yahweh really was. I can't remember. But one of the things they mentioned, I'm going to have to go and check it out. I got some homework out of today's stuff. Um, but it was talking about the timeline reference, and I wasn't aware of the legend of Atonia is one of the ancient texts, and he was saying how it in the legend of Atonia, it gives us a bit of a timeline reference because Atonia was, I guess, the king of Kish, and he said in his writings that he was, wait a minute, he said that he was the first, that Kish was the first civilization after the golden age of civilization was destroyed. So he was the first king installed after a big reset. Now we've theorized about resets in the past, but as far as I know, that's the first historical document that actually talks about a reset in a timeline where somebody actually remembered it clearly. Well, we heard about when Schumer was destroyed and was it Uruk and Urabak and all of that with the evil win, but there's no real timeline reference to that. I think if you chase back, you can find a year. And they didn't mention it in the video, but I've heard of Kish before, the Kingdom of Kish. I'm pretty sure that you could actually find it. Hey, Rod 1379. Hey, Brittany, welcome in. Bear with me a little second here. I'm going to get us some music. Let's see what we got. That'll work, hopefully. So, yeah, I found that was really interesting because it said that he was chose. He says himself. It says Atonia said that he was chosen to be the architect of the new world, not just the architect of Kish, the rebuilding of Kish, but the architect of the new world. No, I'll be doing cards tomorrow on Anunnaki Oracle Priestess, Broken Beautifully. Yeah. Kind of by over time, by mutual agreement of the folks, that are kind of tune in regularly, we're pulling uh, the tarot portion off of this channel. The past tarot readings that I did on this channel, I'm leaving here, and I put a link to my other channel on this page. But yeah, I won't be pulling tarot anymore here, I don't think, unless we pull from the Reiki deck, and while I'm doing a group Reiki healing or something like that. Yeah, I might do some distance Reiki on here, but the majority of the tarot I do will be on my other channel. But yeah, and other homework they gave, he was mentioning, and I didn't realize because with the translations. Oh, thank you, Broken. Yeah, but yeah, tomorrow, and it will be evenings. We also kind of determined that it does best for me to do tarot in the evening. So look for me at like 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on the other channel. And then, yeah, if you need some cards pulled, I'll be happy to do that. Let me see. Basically, all of the stuff that he was talking about, though, was like the correlation of Yeshua's words to the Emerald Tablets. Uh, and he did mention in that one about them lying about the real story of Yeshua. I knew this from watching or listening to Anna, grandmother of Jesus. If you never listened to that work, it is a channeled work, but it is awesome. I would highly encourage you to listen to it. But his grandmother, Anna, was also a virgin birth. You like the one, you say you like the one day, like Monday tarot? Yeah. Well, I don't mind doing 2 days for now. Like I said, once I get busier and get, TikTok lined up and all that other stuff, I probably will only be doing live tarot one day a week here on YouTube, but I will be doing it on uh, TikTok as well. So either way, I mean, tarot is just something I'm gonna wind up doing. Kundarius, again, this was something I'm obeying the collective because it was starting to get a little messy. Those who were trying to find the emerald tablets and trying to find the Book of Enoch and the other stuff we were doing, having to wade through what's tarot and what's the other. I had an old channel, my personal use channel that I'd had for like 12 years, but never did anything on it. And so I just went ahead and set it up for tarot, changed the name and all of that good stuff. Yeah. I wanted to kind of sort of keep them together, but then, like I said, those who are interested in both will find both. I've put links to each channel on both pages. So if you're on this channel, you can find Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. If you're on Anunnaki Oracle Priestess, you can find this one. But the email remains the same. If you want to reach me, modernmysticmessages@gmail will get to me. I'm definitely not going to, I barely maintain my, I don't, let me stop lying. My ADD, I don't maintain my regular emails. I check this email address for the channel more than I do any of my other email addresses because just don't. Hey, Natalie Rose. I do not have a website yet, Quindarius. Hopefully, I will soon because I've had a couple folks that have requested me to do like spiritual coaching and all. And I want to get something set up there so I can do some coaching, start doing some product offerings, things like that. Yeah, it's a work in progress. Be patient with me, but I will. I will hopefully soon. I'm just trying to get the finances together to get a couple things done. But yeah. Let me see. Oh, the other thing that I saw, and again, I didn't catch it because it wasn't in. I used the English Standard Version, and they pulled it out of there. But he was talking about how the Matrix was mentioned in the Bible, in a few places in Exodus, a few places I think in Numbers, but I didn't even realize because it refers to the womb as the Matrix or a womb as the Matrix. You're right, Quindarius. You are absolutely right. I hesitated to do it before because I don't have any official certifications, but for real, life coaches and spiritual coaches and all that, people that go get them, you can get a certification from just about anywhere. There's no real um, quantum continuity in that. It's just getting a certification to say you got one from somewhere, you know? But lately, part of what's going on is just feeling these energies. Like I was saying when I first got here tonight on the channel, the last 2 days, I have been so sleepy. It's ridiculous, you know? Well, and I get it. That's just me being extra because if I want to be able to say if somebody asks that I'm a certified life coach or I'm a certified spiritual coach, what have you, but I'm not trying to tell nobody how to make. Well, I'll give them free auntie advice as far as life coaching, but I do feel like I'm as qualified as anybody else. Lord knows I'd have lived plenty of life to, to be able to. I can tell them what not to do for sure. And I feel I get that part. And truthfully, I probably should set it up. And then if I just really feel like that's something I need to do just to say I got it, after my first few folks, I take part of whatever I get from that, earn from that, and go get the certification. And that's the thing, Paul. I guess that's why I haven't pushed that envelope because I found that out when I never could figure out what I wanted to study in college. And I didn't have the backing of my parents and all of that, so I didn't go. Years later, I did like my associate degree studies and all that. And then when I went back, I did online for a little while, start working on my bachelor's. And I found out really, really quickly that it was useless, especially once I finally decided on a major. The school switched up the course description like 2 semesters in, and then I started looking around and realized that even if I go through this entire 4 year program, I'm not going to be able to use this degree for what I want to use it for. I'm still going to have to turn around and pursue. a postgraduate degree, and they didn't say a word to me about it. And I had gotten so angry. I'm like, I'm just really not willing to rack up $100,000 worth of debt and still not be able to get a job in my field. Hey, Slice CC, welcome in, sis. But yeah, this I call it. Look, this we are in Earth School, and we're on one of the biggest classrooms on the planet. I call this University of YouTube for real, because yeah, there's a lot of garbage on YouTube, but there's a lot of gems on YouTube too, if you understand. That's one of the reasons that you hear me say all the time, I don't gatekeep because I don't assume that my algorithm looks like anybody else's or what they got a hold of or didn't. Now, sometimes I'll run across stuff that I understood Stan could possibly be misleading to people that depending on where they're at in their spiritual journey, and I may not share all of that in detail if I don't think it's helpful. But when I run across something helpful, I'm not gatekeeping. Nah. Oh yeah, college is a joke. Man, I was supposed to be taking alternative medicine, right? The first they had me signed up for, I can't even tell you how many ethics classes. I was going to have to be in school almost 3 years before I could even touch any of my majors, and that was with me coming in with 61 credits. I'm like, and even then, once I finished the degree, that's why I said I went and looked at it all the way through. They switched it up so that even if I finished the degree all the way out the door, I would not have been able to go and get certified in any kind of holistic organization or anything. I would still have to have gone to school for another 3 or 4 years after that in order to do that. Hey, Agent Smith, how are you? You did bad. That's exactly what you are. I said, that's one of the things they were mentioning too about people. We're in here having a perfectly good, intelligent conversation, all the rest of that, and the trolls that come along. He was talking about, Billy Carson was saying how, like, if you want to be talking about Real Housewives or whatever, or the Kardashians or some foolishness, oh, they'll talk to you about that all day. But if you're talking about loftier things, anything spiritual, anything that challenges the status quo, that challenges their low energy thinking, then they either change the subject real quickly or they start scorning you and all the rest of that stuff. And right on cue, here comes this one talking about Jabba, Jabba, Jabba. But like I said, you're an Agent Smith in the Matrix. I understand who and what you are. So this is all I'm going to acknowledge you, period. That's it. But, I think everybody, like you said, everybody acknowledge it deserves a little acknowledgement. So you got all you're going to get today. You did bad. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, Agent Smith. Bye. Have a good one. They are emotionally intelligent. And you have to feel sorry for them because they literally are like little damaged children. They really would have been the ones wearing the helmet sitting on the short bus when you were in school. You have to feel sorry for them. You can't even get, because they don't know no better. They just sick. No, you ain't got to remove him. Maybe he'll learn something if you stick around long enough. Because here's the thing. He act like I don't have a mirror. I know I'm big, and what that got to do with what I know? My man don't care. Y'all don't care. Who the hell is he? Why should I care? It's a whole lot of fat people on YouTube. And it's a lot of them in Hollywood. It's a lot of them on television, in the movies. In America, especially, 60% of the population is overweight. So you don't know what I got you did bad, but don't worry about it. You'll see him one day, hopefully soon, if you decide to subscribe and come back. But again, I don't care what you think. I don't have to answer to you. And I got 4 adult children, so obviously I had one at one point, and I would still have him if I put up with his foolishness. But I'm at an age and stage of my life, I don't need no man to validate me. I done had enough men tell me who and what I am and all the rest of that till your little nonsense can't make me believe or disbelieve it one way or the other. In fact, I didn't even believe them, but it doesn't matter. I don't care because I understand that who a person is on the inside is far more important than what they look like on the outside. But at the end of the day, even while you talk about that, I don't look bad on the outside. I'm just big. And that might not be a you preference, but there's plenty of people that don't mind my size. Trust me. Ain't even got a page and talking crap. Ain't that something? It never is. Like CJ Weber said on his page the other day, nobody that is actually doing anything with their life, that actually has anything going on at all, they would never come into a stranger's house and troll like that and just hate on a stranger for no reason. So the fact that these trolls come in here in the beginning, I know good and full well they are extremely miserable people with not shit going on in their lives. That's why I say I can't even get mad at them. You have to feel sorry for them because they are so emotionally unintelligent that they will waste their own precious time to come into a live stream to get negative attention from a whole bunch of strangers, make themselves look stupid in front of a whole bunch of strangers when they could lend positively to a conversation and make actual friends. It's crazy. Oh yeah, most of them keyboard warriors are somewhere living in their mama's basement, ain't got no friends, ain't got no woman, kids won't talk to them if they had any. Barely just the dregs of society. It's disgusting. But for what? Don't block them. Please don't do that, Robin. Continuously blocking them people only winds up hurting us. It hurts me. It really do. YouTube, unfortunately, for some reason, likes to allow that kind of foolishness. You can unblock them, or I'll go back in my back office and do it at some point. But yeah, you don't have to block them because it genuinely you fine, you fine. I'm only acknowledging them because, like my mama used to say, if Jesus died for you, if Christ died for him, surely you can speak to him. Now, I don't believe the whole Christ died because I understand what he really died for. He died for the Jews' hatefulness and the Romans' hatefulness, but everybody is due hello because they're obviously miserable and they're obviously seeking attention. So I'll at least validate them a little bit by saying hello, but I still let them know how miserable and ridiculous they are. So hopefully they'll repent and learn better. And if not, they'll just take, you know, having everybody hate on them a little bit so they can go on and make themselves feel good by being hated on. Since they came in here to hate on other people, hate on them. But yeah, you ain't got to remove them. If they come in talking like saying racist things, like seriously racist things, then yes, I'll remove that because I don't want to offend any of the folks that are in the room because I don't know who any of you all are, and I don't care because you're all my brothers and sisters. We ain't gonna tolerate no racism, and I'm not gonna tolerate too much of that really hateful politicking either because, yeah, but other than that, they can talk about me all they want. Honestly, that all that'll be is my inspiration to go on and lose the weight. I wonder what they're gonna say if I drop 100 pounds. What am I gonna be then? I guess saggy hut. But actually, if I do it through fasting, I won't even have saggy skin, and I know that. So yeah, and trust me, y'all, my eyes are watering. I swear to you on everything, I am not crying. That fool ain't got enough juice to make me cry. Exactly. They're so miserable, Quindarius. They will find something. They just will. Because I spend a lot of time when because I want to know what's going on in the live streams and kind of take the temperature of YouTube. And no matter what the genre is, the niche, whatever you want to call it, I done been in all kinds of live streams. And no matter what it is, there's always somebody in there talking shit. They're just miserable people all over the world. The timelines are diverging though. We got, like I said, low intelligence, bump their heads people that don't have no kind of life, that think it's cool to go in and make strangers' lives miserable. They just want to share their misery with everybody else. What do they say? Misery love company? Yeah, and they just prove it. And truthfully, talking to them and not getting mad, hurts them more than anything because they want to make somebody mad. I'll let them know you ain't even effective. First off, how many movies they done made since Star Wars? Ain't Star Wars vehicle is like 40 something years old, and you can't find nothing better to taunt me with than a 40 something year old fictional character. Your eyes are weeping too. Something must be late blooming or something. I don't know. Oh, they are the Walking Dead. Yeah, Chabu. You don't know? Why do you think that show is so popular? And how long is it still on TV, y'all? I don't even know. I was like, how many seasons is these zombies gonna roam across? I mean, I had to realize, wait a minute. If you learn from the allegory or from whatever, we are living in the zombie apocalypse. We really are. Whether it's caused by some kind of a virus or bite or whatever. Oh wow, I don't doubt it. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you got time to hang out tonight too, Brittany. I miss you too. Yep. But yeah, it's I guess the zombie apocalypse is kind of a little bit kinder than saying we living in a dumpster fire. 'Cause but it do feel like we doing that too in some realities. Because that's the thing. It's such a dichotomy of experience. In the abstract, you can turn on the television and social media and all those things, and you can kind of see the dumpster fire around the world, the zombie apocalypse. But oh yeah, I hear you. I hope I get one soon. Well, I hope I get a reason where I don't need one soon. But if I don't get a reason why I don't need one soon, Brittany, then I hope I get one soon. But I've been applying, not even getting an interview, so it is what it is. But I do understand when you got them little crumb crushers, shoot, they be having appetites and things. So I get it. I completely get it. They ain't trying to be fasting. Yeah, the CDC has a plan on the books for a zombie apocalypse, and when you found that out, you knew something was up. Exactly, Quindarius. Did y'all know? Now, here's the thing that got me. This is what I'm meant to do. I just got to find a way to make it pay. And I understand I am a teacher. And I would be, if I understood I had a stable income under me, I probably would be a little more focused. Yeah, I got the ADD stuff to deal with, but I would be more focused about producing more specific content, kind of either hiring an editor or learning the editing piece so I can put different types of videos out there and kind of it's a process, but I'm getting there. I will hopefully through this fasting and the basically from now to the end of the year I'm going to be on a program if you will, and by the end of that program I think my life is going to be a whole lot different than what it looks like right now. I really do. But yeah, this is what I want to do because whether I'm talking to 12 people like we got here or 2,000 or 10,000 or whatever it winds up being, um, I want to make a difference because I'm aware that not everybody knows the things that I've been exposed to, you know? I like we were saying the other day, as popular as they are, or what I love them to death, but not everybody knows who Paul Wallace and Billy Carson are. Now they rock stars in my eyes, but how many people know who they are and what they talk about? So I can't assume it's 8 billion people on this planet. So I know, and even as like I said, they're light years ahead of me as far as followers and what they're doing and this and that. But I think Billy Carson, through all of his channels, may have 2 million followers. Paul Wallace got about two. So 4 million people out of 8 billion, that's only a drop in the bucket. We got work to do, you know? Yeah, it does, Quindarius. The main thing that's stopping me at this point is I need a laptop and I need to be able to afford the subscriptions to some of the premium AI tools. I definitely, as much as I didn't want to deal with AI, I know I'm going to have to stay relevant in this space or stay small like this. This is fine. Thank you, Glove 300. I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you too. And that's the reason why I continue doing it even before I get to the money piece. Because initially, what I said was even if I only help one person, it's worthwhile. And it is. Because let's face it, what else would I be doing tonight if I wasn't sitting here with y'all? Doom scrolling on YouTube or somewhere stuffing my face or doom scrolling on YouTube, pretty much. I don't go nowhere. That's all. I mean, so you think people will resonate with him more? It's not just the information, but the delivery. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Look at the difference between like Anunnaki Ancient Mystery or Paul Wallace with the Fifth Kind, because he has his channel, Paul Wallace, where he's just doing face to face talks like this. But on the Fifth Kind, they do more graphics and stuff, Astral Legends and all that. They're talking about the same kinds of things that I'm talking about, but with the addition of the graphics and the all of those other things, it creates a completely different um, type of audience. I'll look at it. I was also gonna try to look into Cursive or something because I mean some of the ones that really do that I know I'm gonna need. Like I had downloaded some AI program, but what it allowed me to do for free was so limited it was a joke. It was basically like I could ask one or two questions a day, but I couldn't really work with the graphics I needed to. I couldn't do anything with it. Yeah, the download was free, but in order to do anything within the app, I was going to have to upgrade. And I know I'm going to need several tools like that, and money is just tight right now. But it will get straight soon. I'm not saying that's something that I'm looking out long term putting off. No, it really is. It's not going to be long. But I definitely appreciate the hint, and I will take a look at that. Like I said, I will write down all my little stuff on here. Let me see. Check out DeepSeek. This is ridiculous. I bought some big pens. I'm having the hardest time with ink pens. I had bought some purple ink pens and they skip, the ink skips really bad and all. So then I turned around and bought some big pens because I'm a lefty and Papermate pens, the ink doesn't dry fast enough the way I write, and it smears really bad. So I wanted to get big because I thought that would be reliable, and half of them skipping and acting a fool. That's cool. Yeah. I have been so against AI for the longest, so I'm just gonna have to, and I will still be out. Look, I understand that the folks that really give us AI do not have our best interest at heart, and I do understand that they've dipped too far into it, and it's not going to end well if it's not stopped. They've shown us that clearly in the movies and everywhere else. Even Elon Musk, who is one of the biggest ones to deal with that, has said that he basically continues to promote stuff with it because he wants to stay relevant in the business world, but it scares him even, and yet he continues to do it. So I will use it, but I'm gonna go slow. I just have to go slow. But it's way more than Google with a brain, Crendarius. That's the reason why I say I'm hesitant about it. Especially folks, it's a lot of folks, and I've talked to several of them. After they use it for a while, it's almost like they get addicted to it, and there's some kind of a probably some bit of subliminal effect there where these people are becoming too reliant on it. They want to interact with it like it's a human, and that's a really bad idea. If you don't believe me, go see that movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix. They'll let you know that's not what you want to do. But to some degree, I'm still have to do it because I wanted to get into a couple of different niches with faceless channels, and I know I'm gonna need it. Yeah, it is. Um, and again, I'm not sure exactly, but what I heard back in the day is it was given to us by the Orions, and they do not have humanity's best interest at heart. Apparently, the Orions do not do well in our physical environment, so they have to basically communicate through telepathy and things. And their ultimate goal is to get with like that Neuralink thing, so that they can literally use our bodies as avatars. You said the veil is very light here tonight. Many spirits doing your thing. See, you different. You like I said, bless you, Paul, because you told me you live on a vortex with a lot of different spirits. See, they'd have to go. I can't. I can't. Now, honestly, Brittany, I've thought about doing that because courses is where it's at, and for sure, with the information that I into, I could put my thoughts into something and create a course or two or five, you know. And I've genuinely thought about doing that, like as far as writing ebooks, writing courses. Now, the actual autobiographical work, I don't know. I know I don't have to do it, but I've been thinking about it ever since I bought this little book, this notebook, that I'm supposed to write that longhand. That is coming out of me in spirit. I mean, I'll be channeling as far as my guides will be helping me write it, but it's not something that I can use AI for. I have to write it. Yeah, and ultimately, because those folks that talk about they doing faceless channels and they making buku bajillion dollars a month, they are, but they're all attaching either some form of online marketplace to that channel and or some form of ebook or course or planner, notebook, calendar, something that goes along with the niche that they're speaking on. So it'll help with writing as long as I have my thoughts organized. If you don't do it, we'll try to fill in the blanks with random. Yeah. Now that's the one thing I can't do because I'm so OCD. And y'all, my guilty pleasure on YouTube is listening to those AI storytime channels. I like African folk tales, blah blah blah, and stories by whoever, blah blah blah. But I've noticed a lot of those creators that create those stories, they just give AI a prompt and then let it run with it, and the artwork be all jacked up, and the story time be repeating itself two or three times in a loop, and all of that. And when I find creators that are careless like that, I unsubscribe and go to someplace else. But I do understand that like I said, it's a really cool tool. If you don't let it rule you, it can be used the right way. But I will always check my work because I don't trust AI like that. I'm not gonna just let it have its way and then just publish it without looking over it. Yeah, that I'm too OCD for that. Excuse me. This was definitely not the conversation I thought we were going to have tonight, but I ain't mad. It's a good one just the same. Mm-mm-mm. Hey, shamanic healer, welcome in. Well, my thing is, what am I gonna do for the graphics and stuff? I don't even know. I don't even think that those story times. They're not picking their own story. They're kind of plucking AI's brain for story topics because you'll start seeing the same basic storyline floating around multiple channels, and it some will end a little bit different. They'll kind of you can tell that they kind of ABC as far as a beginning, middle, and end. They pick between a certain number of options, all of the, for example, this week, all of the heroines in the thing, all of their names might be Amaka. Next week, they're gonna all be Sharon. Next week, all of the guys on the channel going their last name gonna be Blackwater. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'll have to experiment with it some. After you, oh, okay, meditate and alive until you sleep. I don't blame you. Yeah. Sometimes I do that too. I was sitting there today trying to listen to stuff and just I had to keep rewinding and rewinding it because I was falling asleep. Yesterday morning I had the hardest time waking up and I went to bed, but I woke up and I was trying to listen to I don't even remember what I was listening to. But I kept finding myself falling back asleep. And then finally I got up. It was like 10 a.m., 10 something, and I got on up. But today I got up, came downstairs, and was sat at the table by the back door and still wound up falling asleep. But then I also understand if I'm sleeping like that, my body probably needs it, you know? It's just crazy because, like I said, the energies are, they doing their thing. Your net went down again, Paul? Wow. Yeah, yeah. That's probably why my guys were pushing so hard for me to fast too. So just to allow the body to catch up with what the frequencies are doing. You felt tired today too. See, that's what I'm saying. And I feel bad because I don't be doing nothing. I gotta, yeah. And that's the other part. It's like I gotta get more rest, but I also have to get more exercise. So sleep longer and then get up and exercise more and then go back to sleep. Yeah, and I will. Like I said, in time, I'll play with it. My biggest thing is making sure I get the graphics and stuff that I want to. As an empath, it affects us more. I even thought about, and I don't mind saying it because there's so many folks in those faceless genres. Something now the ones I don't even understand. There's one out there that I'm not sure why that niche is even popular, but it's slave stories, and I'm like, yeah, I don't see that. But I had thought about doing like twin flame love stories. I think that would be one that would might I haven't seen out there a lot that might be, or even like cosmic type love stories. Hey, Lunar Beats, welcome. Hey, hey. Yeah, as an empath, stuff does affect us. Like, even before I understood that it was, but once I started focusing on cleansing my energy, yeah, when the energy is like off base, it really gets me. It really hits me really, really hard. So sometimes I just have to roll with it. Like I said, because I do understand we got a lot of crazy energies happening. So exactly, Quindarius, and that's why I thought that's something that I haven't seen so far. I've seen one cosmic story channel, kind of, sort of, but I didn't even watch the videos. I'll probably watch them to see what it comes up with. But that other niche, I haven't seen at all. So I'm like, that might be something that I might want to get on right quick, you know? A scalar energy wave, yeah. I would imagine between now and the end of the month, it's only going to continue to ramp up worse and worse. As what's the thing? What's the name of the asteroid or whatever that's coming for? You see, you got a love story for my show. I could best around to tell my little story. If I told it the way it's happened so far and then played it on out the way I want to play it out, the way I've been shown it playing out, that'd be the story of all stories for sure. But yeah, I could definitely get the backstories and kind of create some like fictionalize some stuff for folks if they want to tell their stories. Now there is a nonfiction channel that I've seen that was really cool on YouTube that was like that, and it really is like twin flames and divine counterparts or whatever kind of excuse me, calling in or talking to the content creator and telling their stories. I've seen a couple of them like that. I thought that was kind of cool. Hey, Sky Turks, how are you? Yeah, I thought about that too, Quindarius. Once upon a time, before I went this far down the spiritual rabbit hole, I was actually considering writing light erotica. And it's not that, I mean, I still could, obviously, and I'm actually pretty good at it, but I just didn't want to mix those two things up, so I just left it alone. Sky Turks, you're gonna have to say it in English, my dear. But I appreciate you. If you're here actually from Turkey, thank you. I even considered Quindarius. Once upon a time, I thought about doing like the ASMR, doing like grown folks bedtime stories ASMR. But yeah, no, I'm not doing that either. Like I said, I'm being called to be a teacher. Not that there's anything wrong with it per se, but yeah, it's just too much going on. Don't we don't have a way to translate here in the live stream, Sky Turks. You might want to change it to English. Yeah, and I don't think I really want that particular tribe. That's the problem. Yeah. So I'm happy with the tribe I got. ASMR irritates the fire out of me. My neurodivergence is not set up for it, but I know a lot of people do like it. For those who enjoy it, mine would be a little bit different because I can't do all of the with the my, no, I can't do all of that. But but I do know that when I choose to, my voice is very soothing, and I could probably do a little something with that. Eh, yeah, they do have a way of blending things and growing them, but I don't really like I said at the time when I had came up with that idea, I just don't care to blend that anymore. Because here's the thing, ultimately, once I get the channels up and off the ground and I'm able to start travel vlogging and all the rest of that and the money build because I've been shown quite a bit further down the road, and once I get down the road, eventually I'm going to have a retreat. And one of the things that's going to happen in my retreat, in addition to Reiki healing and that kind of stuff, I'll be teaching tantric Kundalini yoga or like Kundalini, like tantric meditation. So I just really have to be real careful about the way I blend grown folks topics. So yeah, I don't want it to be taken lightly or like it's a joke or anything like that. Let somebody else do that portion. Because like I said, there's nothing wrong with no, we're not doing that either, Sky Turks. We're not doing that free Palestine stuff. You got to take that somewhere else. I'm sorry for what they're going through, but if you have real spiritual understanding, you would understand what's going on over there with Palestine and all that, and you wouldn't be aligning yourself politically with none of that. That's awesome. Which channel were you on, Natalie? Hey, Antoine, welcome in. Whose channel were you on? Because I got a couple of them that I enjoy listening to as well. It's not so much ASMR Reiki, but I do some distance Reiki. Oh Lord, why you say? What are you now? Are you giving them something back in Turkish? Okay. Oh well, it just stupid. It'll be all right. Cool. He gonna get timed out in a minute. I don't have to report you, but you will be timed out because we ain't got time. Reiki with Hannah, I'm not sure. Sky Turk, stop now or be removed. Okay. I know you know enough English to understand that, or you would not be on this channel. Stop. You're not taking over my chat stream with your foolishness. Hey, Sophie Millicent, how are you? I'm not doing tarot in here, honey. We're just having a conversation. We done been talking about all kinds of stuff. Nope, I don't speak any African languages either. I speak English. But if you want tarot, Sophie, you'd have to see me on my other channel, Anunnaki Oracle Priestess, tomorrow. Yes, Sky Turks. I speak English. I am American born and raised. Actually, I mean, people consider tarot as divination, shamanic healer, and I do read tarot, but that I'm not doing it here on this channel. No, I do not speak any African languages, Sky Turks. I am an American. I have always lived in America. I have only ever spoken English. You say you was kicked out of the patient's line? Sky Turks, I done told you, be quiet or be gone. You're not lending to our conversation and you're not going to take it over. You don't even speak English. So how in the world you going to come in here and want to take over somebody's live stream? Speak English or be gone. You say you'll take it out. No, what topic would you like to discuss, Sophie? If you have a question about spirituality in general, fine. I can't tell you who's coming your way or who you want to love or whatever, but we were talking about ways that we talked about King Atonia of Kish being the first civilization after the last great reset. Ways that the Bible lied about the real story of Yeshua, um, things like that. I love world humans too, but I'm not involving myself in human politics because human politics do not love world humans. Okay, that part. It was something I was listening to yesterday, and it was talking about Israel. No, unless it's biblical politics, I don't do modern day politics at all. But what I was thinking about yesterday when it was talking about the nation of Israel, it's so weird to me that they still doggedly hold on to the idea that they are a chosen people. Bye, Sky Turks. I'm telling you, you're going to be timed out. This is your last warning. Okay? Yeah. You can time him out if you want to, CC, because I know he getting on everybody's nerves. You ain't got to disappear him altogether, but yeah. Yeah. I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. Uh, there we go. Sophie Millicent, you said you had a no. Does that make sense in English? It's a candle that lasts 9 days, but today it just stopped. After only 3 days, you hope it's a good sign. If you've heard you should never relight it, then don't. I don't know nothing about that because I mean I burn candles, general candles, but I had a few 7-day candles, and I don't burn my candles 24 hours a day, so I relit mine, and I didn't have any issue with it. But it depends on what you're trying to do, Sophie. But anyway, back to what I was saying. It was something with the nation of Israel that kind of crossed my mind. And I was thinking about how in the scriptures, they did not always worship Yahweh. And they didn't continue worshiping Yahweh. They didn't even know his name is Yahweh. When Abraham started worshiping Yahweh, he did not know his name is Yahweh. Yahweh didn't identify himself by name to the nation of Israel until he got with the Israelites in Egypt. It's crazy. First off, Sophie Millicent, ain't nobody lost except those who choose to be. There's talking about a prayer candle for the lost. That's a very judgmental Christian Israel, whatever type thing to say. You don't need ain't that. How do you know they lost? The only people that are lost is people who choose to be lost. They don't need you to pray for them. They ain't lost. You say you dreamt of this channel last night, like a ritual echo calling you home. Oh wow. Okay. Again, Sophie, I understand what you're saying because Christians, in their extreme arrogance, have the idea that they are the saved ones and everyone else is lost. And it's truthfully exactly the opposite. That's spiritual arrogance that makes us think that people are lost if they don't believe the way we believe. Because the whole religious system is a lie. That's what we talk about here on this channel. The way that humanity has been lied to and misled using religion, especially the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Because of that, the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. They are worshiping Satan, the devil, and do not know that. Yeshua told them they were worshiping Satan, the devil. He told them that the Elohim that sent him was not the Elohim that they were worshiping, that they did not know his father, that they were worshiping the devil. He told them that directly in the scriptures. And the thing that got me that was so interesting, the Jews were so hard hearted. It's fine. All of us were raised some way different. I was raised in a Christian household and I had to let it go because I understood that what I was raised in is a lie. So as I reached some point that I had to put my big girl panties on and have enough strength to go with what I know and understand and leave it. Let me see the analogy. He said flame consumes yet reveals, wax melts. Yes, remember smoke ascends, carry intention beyond form. Yeah. But the whole idea with the nation of Israel, even they were seeking to unalive the Messiah, the Mashiach, as they talk about. Here's the thing: Christians think that the story is so good, and they put that whole first part of the Bible, Genesis through Deuteronomy, in there with the Jews and the Jews and the Jews. And then by the time Yeshua comes onto the picture, they think that because he was a Jew by birth, that the Jews is okay. They okay. Those are God's chosen people. So we're gonna become spiritual Israelites. We're not Jews by birth, but we're going to become spiritual Israelites. And because we follow Yeshua, we're going to call ourselves Christians. That's the lie that Christianity tells you, is that basically, yes, the Jews and Christians worship the same God. You call them something different. but you're following this because the Jews was God's chosen people. The Jews was trying to kill Yeshua before he ever got here. That's what the story in Bethlehem about the three wise men following the star and all the rest of that. Do you know why they was following the star? They was following the star because King Herod had made a decree that all the firstborn male children of the nation of Israel were supposed to be unalive to make sure the Messiah did not come into being. They knew the prophecies and they wanted him dead so bad that they created a genocide event to make sure that they snuffed out the Messiah before he ever drew his first breath. That's why he was born in a manger. That's why the three wise men was trying to find him anyway, because they knew the prophecies and all too, but they were not Jews worshiping Yahweh. They were astrologers and astronomers, and they wanted to praise the Messiah instead of unalive him. And so that star, obviously, it wasn't a star that far up in the sky. You know, the Anunnaki traveled in the smoke and the flame and the flashbangs and the lights and all that. They were led to that manger exactly where the Christ child was, because the Anunnaki knew they didn't mean him any harm. Your sage candle came. Oh wow. Why do we argue over a 3,000-year-old story? Because it's that same 3,000-year-old story that's got humanity bound and gagged and deluded and stuck. So people need to learn to understand the real story. Because, like I said, literally 75% of the world is still being lied to today. They are still worshiping a monster who hates us. They are still engaging in black magic and binding rituals in the name of religion. They're still fighting wars everywhere. Somebody coming here with the Free Palestine mess earlier. That would not be happening if they weren't worshiping the devil. The nation of Israel swear up and down that they are still God's chosen people. And I can't tell you how many times in the Bible that the nation of Israel, that Yahweh said he didn't want nothing else to do with them. He never fulfilled his promises to them, ever. I'm gonna have to get back with you on that, Sophie. I know somebody else in the chat took the conversation somewhere else, but I'm trying to have a conversation along a certain line. I can't get off into sage and Buddhism and clearing and all that. Antoine is into Buddhism, and if you're interested in Buddhism, you can go to Antoine's Dharma Path. But right now, I'm kind of in the middle of a conversation. Unless you was talking to him, I'm gonna just have to keep going with what I was on already. It's okay. Unfortunately, that happens kind of a lot here. And again, if y'all want to talk about something else, that's all well and good. But yeah. But yeah, shamanic healer. It's Israel was very short sighted. They followed based on one of their ancestors, Abraham. And the crazy part is the ancestors that they followed were not the sharpest tools in the shed. No disrespect, but I got to say it. Abraham was a liar and Moses was a murderer. And that's who they hinged all of their hopes on. Abraham left out of Ur, setting out on his own. And when he got with Yahweh, one of the first things that he did was told his wife to lie and say she was his sister instead of his wife, because they got to starve. They was hungry out there in the desert. And Yahweh had said he was going to take care of them, but he didn't. And they had to go back into Egypt because there was a famine in the land, and he was afraid that because she was 10 years younger than him and she was very beautiful, that they was going to want her so bad that they would kill him. So he told her to lie. And because of that, the Pharaoh was over there looking at her sideways. But instead of him telling the truth, or instead of Yahweh setting the record straight, Yahweh sent plagues to the Pharaoh. What kind of foolishness is that? You done set this man up to covet after your wife and then turn around and send plagues his way because he did. You know? And the same thing with Moses. Moses had just left out of Egypt because he was on the run. He had just unalived one of the Pharaoh's guards. He was raised in the Pharaoh's house, but it was known that he was an Israelite. The Pharaoh's daughter just loved him, so she raised him as one of her own, but he was a Jew. And he got so mad in a fit of anger that he turned around and unalived one of the Pharaoh's guards and was on the run for his life. And Yahweh wanted a people so bad because Yahweh did not have a people and he did not have a land. And so he had to kind of sequester both. So he got the people on the hook by lying to them about the land. He promised to give them a land, but they stayed nomadic for a long time. Like I said, he had them roaming out there in the desert for 40 years for a trip that should have took more than 11 weeks. And when they finally did get to the promised land, there was still Nephilim on it. Do I think that Yahweh used biological weapons? It doesn't say that he specifically used them. Well, kind of, sort of. He used black magic for sure, because as far as the biological weapons, that was Marduk when he used the evil wind. That wasn't even a biological. That was a nuclear weapon that he used. It destroyed Sumer. That was his nephew Marduk that did that. But when he was dealing with with Israel, I mean with Egypt and the Israelites, what do you think all them plagues were? He sent in locusts and sent in boils to the people and 3 days of darkness and turned all of the water to blood and all that kind of stuff. And several times in the scriptures it talks about him sending plagues to people. Even him, he was bragging to the Jews about how I sent you plagues. I dried out your crops. I did this and that, and still you did not return to me. And then when they was out there in the desert, he gave them manna. They had to follow him around. They followed him in a pillar of smoke by day and a pillar of fire by night. That's how he led them around. And that's why they stayed lost for 40 years, because he just kept weaving them around and around in the desert instead of taking them to their destination. But at one point, there's a story in there that talks about how he turned around and sent venomous snakes among them. And in order for them not to die, he raised a copper serpent up on a pole. He was a snake handler. He raised a copper serpent up on a pole, and they had to continue to look at that, to devote their undivided attention to that, to keep from dying. You said you read that story today? Yeah. But Yahweh was a snake handler. That's why I say in the scriptures when it talks about him, about the serpent in the Garden of Eden and the this and the that, and they try to flip it and put it on this Lucifer character. No, they was talking about Yahweh. Because even in Genesis, it gives you the prophecy about how Yahweh will bruise the Son of Man in the heel, and the Son of Man will bruise him in the head. Krishna is is Yeshua in the Hindu story. Yeah, I think Vishnu is Yahweh. Yeshua is Krishna, and Shiva is Lord Enki. No, I'm not no snake handler because I'm not fooling with Yahweh. That's why I'm here teaching shamanic healer. Christians are still fooling with the devil and they don't know it. Let me go back here and read this because we read it a lot, a lot, a lot on this channel, but you haven't heard me read it. So if you'll go to John, the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 42. Well, 41, it says, they start out saying, we were not born of immorality. We have one Father, even God, or the Elohim. And Yeshua said to them, if the Elohim were your father, you would love me, for I came from the Elohim and I am here. I came not of my own accord, but he sent me. Why do you not understand what I say? It is because you cannot bear to hear my word. You are of your father the devil, and your will is to do your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks out of his own character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. But because I tell the truth, you do not believe me. And here's the thing. Excuse me. Wait a second. Let me do this. I was supposed to be getting my water on today anyway. Let me get that rolling. Um, there are a lot of folks that have been deceived because one of the things Christianity tells us is that there is only one God. And they even deliberately mistranslated the Bible to make people believe that. The word that is translated God in the Bible is Elohim. Number one, it is not singular, it never has been. It is a masculine plural. It means powerful ones in the plural. So everywhere you see God in the Bible, understand they're referring to more than one Elohim. Yahweh said he's a jealous God, and therefore he started edging the other Elohim out. But I always wondered, if he say he the Alpha and the Omega and he's the only one, why what would he have to be jealous of? Why would he tell you you must not have any other gods before me? If it ain't no other gods to have, why would he have to say that? Because there was plenty of other Elohim around that let us make man in our image. He was talking to his brother and his sister and his nephew. They're not false gods. All of them are false gods, shamanic healer. I would highly encourage you to go into some of the content that I have on this channel. Primarily, I was listening. There was one I did recently about Obadiah and Amos and the nature of Yahweh. And then there's a live stream that I did here recently, about a month ago or so. I was wearing a purple velour dress, and it says something about Leviticus and First and Second Samuel and Yahweh in the title of it. Go back and watch those, and you'll kind of understand what we're talking about here. But if you go all the way back, the problem is if you go all the way back, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism do not want you to go back. Those are the newest religions on the planet. Judaism came around in 500 BC or so. Okay. Christianity did not become an official religion until 325 AD. Islam did not become an official religion until 600 AD. But thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, there was a lot of stuff rocking on the planet before then. It's just that Christianity done told you don't pay no attention to that. All of that was mythology. This is all you need to look at, and that's a lie. Now, if you go all the way back through the pantheons, you'll find out that the one they call Yahweh and Jehovah, he's been a lot of different things over time. He's been known as, he absorbed Baal in the temple right before the Jews started worshiping him. Baal, Asherah, and Yahweh used to be worshipped in the temple together around the time that Nanar sinned and all of them, because those were all his people. Ninurta, Nanar, uh, Inanna, all of them were worshipped in their various temples. Yahweh was the one that wanted to edge everyone out and say that people could only worship him. But he's been known as Beelzebub, he's been known as Baal, he's been known as Dionysus, Yao, Eonis, Bacchus. He was known in the Greek pantheon as Zeus. He was known in the Nordic pantheon as Odin. And if you go all the way back through those pantheons to the very earliest ones we know of, he was Enlil from Nibiru when he first got here. When he set foot off the spaceship, he was Enlil. His title was Lord of the Command, assigned by his father Anu. His other title was Satan of the Eden. His brother Ea, or Enki, Ea Enki, his title was Lord of the Waters, and he shows up in the pantheons as Loki and Poseidon and Olokun, Shiva, Ptah, things like that. They were never gods. You can't say false gods are amongst us. They are not gods. Enlil, Yahweh Jehovah, is the one who insisted when Enki, our primary geneticist, our progenitor, when he and Ninmah, because they was at one point in time they walked amongst us. That's who came up with the images of them. Why do you think there is a continuity there? Thoth always shows up as the bird person until he gets over to the Mayan lands, and then he's the winged serpent. Through whether he's Shiva, Olokun, Poseidon, or whatever, Enki always shows up with the flowing hair and kind of dark skin, very, very handsome. Enlil always shows up with the craggy kind of bearded face, more stern looking kind of whatever, and looking a little older. Now, truthfully, he was the younger brother, but again, not saying that they got to be an absolute Polaroid image, but of course they got those ideas or those images from somewhere. No, we're not supposed to be worshiping any gods, shamanic healer. That's the point. When humans were made that let us make man in our image, Yahweh insisted that we have a worship gene put in us. That's the reason why everything we don't understand, we deify and or kill it. We have a genetic component in our DNA that causes us to want to worship things. We were also never supposed to be told that we're not gods, that they're not gods. We were not supposed to see their faces. That's why the scriptures tell you that story about no man can see God and yet live. It's not that us physically seeing God would cause us to automatically combust. It's that they had been given orders. The angels, the rank and file among the Anunnaki, could visibly be seen by us, but any of the major Anunnaki were to be seen, we were supposed to be instantly unalived on the spot to keep that lie alive. But the one who actually made us, Lord Enki, he followed the directions of the Anunnaki when they said to put that worship gene in us, but he felt bad about it. He felt so bad about it because initially we were not supposed to have their DNA. We were supposed to just be worker bees, so to speak. But in order to get an intelligent, sentient life form, they had to lend us their DNA. And from the time he started putting his DNA into us, he saw us as his children, his progeny. And he felt bad about the fact of giving us a worship gene to make us worship. So he also gave us the ability to turn it off. Now, whether we'll turn it off or not, the matters whether our consciousness will ascend to a point that we see and understand and accept that and turn it off, or whether we continue to bow and scrape and worship the false gods. Because Yahweh is a false God. All of them are false gods. They're not God. They are not the creators of the universe. No, no. You're still wanting, you're still stuck, and I get it. There's a lot of people when they find out that Yahweh is not God, and it's like they start looking around. Which one should I be worshiping? Which one is the right one? None of them, honey. They're not vehicles to ascend us to different realities. Worshiping a God is a vehicle to keep you stuck in 3D reality, looping over and over again. That lie that you're going to die and go to heaven and all that, when truthfully you just die and ascend to another. You don't ascend nowhere. You get recycled in the 3D matrix. The only way to escape that is to turn off your worship gene and understand that you've been lied to and bamboozled, and then you might get to another dimension if you can actually you can ascend in your consciousness, like Yeshua told you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not up there. Sky Daddy ain't waiting for you to come join him so you can go hang out on a cloud and walk streets of gold and playing no harp. The kingdom of heaven is within you. In the Bible, when it talks about climbing Jacob's ladder, that's aligning your chakras and having a Kundalini experience, my love. When it talks about the 120 that was in the upper room with the flames of fire over their heads, they had aligned their chakras until their soul star chakra was open. So it's not just looking for a different God to figure out which one is the right one to go and worship. You ain't supposed to be worshiping none of them. That's one of the reasons Buddhism is a thing. And even in this day and time, Buddhism has been somewhat convoluted and they tried to turn it into a religion. But Buddhism is an Inkyite philosophy, just like Jainism and Sikhism and things like that. It is not designed to create worship. It is designed to create ascension, but not by worshiping any deity or individual. No. It ain't even in the best way we know how. We've been given instructions if we'll listen to it, but you got to come out of the churches and actually pay attention to it. Study the Emerald Tablets, study the Popol Vuh, study the Enuma Elish, study um, the Lost Book of Enki. All of those things give us real information as to how, no, Yeshua is not a deity. And he told you he wasn't. Humans decided to worship him and deify him anyway, but he never told you that he told us we're gods. In fact, no, that's not true. Jesus is not a god. Jesus means hail Zeus, which Zeus is Yahweh. So, and Yahweh ain't a true God. Yahweh is the devil. But you're still looping right back to the same thing. I'm telling you what it is, and you can't hear me, but go somewhere and do your homework until you actually understand. Again, he ain't no lord of destruction. He's a cat from Nibiru that done lied to y'all, and those whose brain cells can't quite fire accept all of that mess about him being a lord of destruction and a lord of this and a lord of that. But I just got through telling you, shamanic healer, that his name is Enlil and he came from the planet Nibiru. He's a liar. He is destructive. He's a destroyer. He hates humanity. He's tried several times to have us completely destroyed. The one who actually cares about humanity and is trying to help us ascend from the madness he created is his brother, Enki. Because Enlil wants to keep you mentally stuck. All of that, like you said, you still trying to figure out who to go worship and who to go this and where you need to go. And Zeus is the Lord of destruction and all. Again, then stay stuck. Don't call yourself a shamanic healer because you're not shamanic or a healer. I'm trying to tell you, I'm not making these things up. You can go and do your homework and find out. And you would be wrong. Most of the planet thinks they're doing a good thing by worshiping Jesus. And yet, even in the very scriptures where he says that, he says, in that day, many will come to me and say, Lord, Lord, didn't we perform many powerful works in your name? And didn't we expel demons in your name? And didn't we do this and that in your name? And yet I will say to them, I never knew you. Get away from me, you workers of iniquity. Yeshua said that. So you keep on worshiping him if you just insist because you want to stay stuck in religiosity, but you're staying stuck, and Yeshua is not accepting that, honey. Yeah, he told us, did I not tell ye are gods? And greater things than I have done will you do. And the kingdom of heaven is within you. So if you choose to believe the lies that the church done told you to keep you stuck, then you're going to stay stuck. I'm saying the church, you talking about when you don't live by the Bible. I'm saying if you try to follow Christianity and live by the Bible, you're going to stay stuck because they use Yeshua's name. They put Jesus in the middle of that book to tell you that this book is about Jesus. This book is not about Jesus. This book is a story of two Elohim that were fighting each other for hundreds of thousands of years in the Anunnaki wars. They turned around and killed Jesus and lied 300 years later and put his story in this book as a mascot to keep people worshiping Yahweh. But yet Jesus did not come on this earth to tell nobody to worship Yahweh. Exactly the opposite. He was telling people, you got it wrong. Stop worshiping this cat. He is not who you think he is. He is the devil. That is exactly what he told the Jews. And they got so mad for him telling them that they killed him. So no, I'm saying directly, you said, can people can use Jesus against you when you don't live by the Bible? No. I'm telling you, the Bible, the Christian folks is using Jesus against you to keep you stuck worshiping the devil by tying his name to something that he did not actually represent. Everything that Christianity is 180 degrees opposite of what Jesus was actually teaching. The one you call Jesus, his actual name was Yeshua. Okay, that's what I'm telling you. You got it wrong. Yeshua said you got it wrong. He told the Jews they got it wrong. You're not supposed to be worshiping him. First of all, you need to understand who he really is and what he was really here saying and trying to do. And then you can commune with him, you can acknowledge him, and go on the path that he actually set out for you. But he didn't set out for you to be a Christian. That's a lie that has had humanity stuck. Okay? And when you pray in Jesus' name, you're not actually praying to Jesus. In Jesus' name is a redirecting spell back to Zeus. That means hail Zeus. So you're still low key praying to Yahweh, who hates you and will never answer your prayers. And when you end that prayer in Jesus' name, Amen. Amen is a binding spell to Amun Ra or Marduk, who is Yahweh's nephew. Neither one of them cats is going to do a damn thing for you, okay? Just so you know. Exactly. We're not supposed to be worshiping anyone or anything. I'm hoping you'll subscribe and learn. But if you don't believe it, that's your choice. You ain't got to believe it, but you ain't got to believe in electricity either. But if you stick your finger in a light socket, you'll find out. Yes, that's why you're suffering. That's why humanity suffers. Listen to me. I want you to think about this. Christians worship Yahweh as Jehovah. Jews worship him as Yahweh. Muslims don't even understand that the El that they call themselves worshiping as Allah is actually still Yahweh. So Muslims worship him as El or Allah, and they don't even understand that that's the same cat as Yahweh. But between those three religions, 75% of the planet, meaning 6 billion out of 8 billion people on this planet, 6 billion people worship Yahweh. If he's the true God, why is there no peace on this planet? If he's the true God, why is there still hunger on this planet? Why is there still war and violence on this planet? If people worshiping him were actually worshiping the real deal, why is there not better conditions on this planet? Because he said he's always hated humanity. He done bamboozled you into giving you his tithes and giving you his worship and adoration and all the rest of that stuff. And he ain't got no intention whatsoever of ever doing anything for you. And you know how I know? Even in the Bible, it tell you that. Look, we're going to go to Hebrews 11:40. Hold on. In Hebrews, that dissertation on faith, it tells us about all the faithful men and women of old who hold on, I gotta drink this water. I keep charging it, but it won't hold its hydrogen all that long, so I gotta get some now. Hold on. My mods are smart because this is not our soul family here is not a lot of us are not spiritual babies. We've been at this for a little hot minute, and they've been around for a while, and we learn and grow together. That's why. Um, and yeah, Yeshua most likely did study, because when yet Christians have no idea what Yeshua was doing after the age of 12. From the age of 12, he left Jerusalem, and they claim they don't know what happened. He went into Egypt. In fact, Billy Carson talks about that. He said when he went to Egypt in 2014, he's got pictures of the Coptic church that Yeshua and his mother lived under while they were in Egypt. And after he left Egypt, he went into Tibet. He studied with the Tibetan monks and learned Reiki and meditation practices and all those sorts of things. Folks in India say that he studied under Babaji for a time, and then he came back into Kemet, and he eventually wound up back in Egypt, but he worked his way up to Egypt, starting down in Ethiopia. He took the grand tour of the pyramids. This was a series of 7 pyramids or mystery schools that had pyramids marking where they were, but they were mystery schools, and each initiate would spend could be 6 months, a year, 2 years, however long it took them to make it through that particular initiation. And then they move on to the next pyramid. Then they move on to the next pyramid. And by the time you got to the Grand Pyramid in Giza, the seventh initiation is where the initiate will receive the sabu, or the light body. That's what you see in the pyramids. When you see them with that headband with the cobra sticking out of it, that's an enlightened individual. In the European artwork, you see it as the halo over the head. But Yeshua was a high initiate of the spirit of the mystery schools. And then when he finished doing all of that, he spent 18 years in spiritual study. Then he went back into Jerusalem, got baptized, and then went into the desert for 40 days. 40 is an initiation under a 40-day fast, is an initiation under Lord Enki, not Enlil. Enlil's number is 50. Enki's number is 40. And when he came out of the wilderness at the end of that 40-day fast, that's when he became Christos in the wilderness. And that's when he started performing miracles and teaching and all the rest of that. Yeah, the Ascended Masters have collected it, because, yeah, definitely the Ascended Masters hooked all of us up. And that's what I set an intention for when, look, in 2020, Saint Germain told me we were going to do something big together. Then he handed me off to Master Dwal Cool, and I went through an initiation study group then. But yeah, the Ascended Masters have definitely put this particular soul family together. Who do you pray for when you seeking spiritual help, or should you be praying you having trouble with your family? You can ask your guys. I would start, for anybody that doesn't know, talk to Yeshua. That's where you really want to start. And he'll lead you everywhere else you need to go. Now, don't, again, approach him as you would a mentor, a big brother, a dear friend, a guide. You ain't got to bow and scrape the way we've been taught, to just that groveling fear of Sky Daddy. He doesn't want that from us. But you can talk to Yeshua and just close your prayer when you finish talking to him. Let him know what it is you need, or what you want, or what you'd like to have. You would like to have teachers, be led to the information. Open your mind and heart and close your prayer. So mote it be. So it is. Ashe. Some of anything. Just don't stop closing your prayers in Jesus' name. Amen. You can say in Yeshua's name, Ashe. In Yeshua's name, so mote it be. But in Jesus' name, amen, is a binding spell. Don't do that. But yeah, if you stick around here, subscribe to the channel and tune in. Go back through. I've got several playlists here that'll give you a lot of information. I've got one called Modern Mystic Loved Ones, where I discuss a lot of this stuff. We go into, I started, I think, was it last year sometime around Easter? I had like a Resurrection Day message where I discussed the Gospel of John, and on, just the titles that jump out at you. You can start there. I went through the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Lost Book of Enki. Um, Started working, we're almost finishing up the Book of Enoch. We're getting ready to go into Zechariah Sitchin's 12 Planet series. I'll be continuing to go through stuff. In fact, one of the pieces of homework I got while I was listening to things today is for me to go and check out the movie Jupiter Ascending. But he was also mentioning there was something else. Oh, the Gospel of the Holy 12 is something that we need to take a look at, as well as, well, we eventually we're going to go through all the apocryphal texts because it did occur to me a long time ago. If you really, really want to learn the truth, study the part that they don't want us to look at, the part they took out, because that it tells too much. That's why they took it out. You see, you think that's when he went to the Buddhist monastery? Well, it said he went to Egypt first, so I don't know if he got to the monastery right away. He at first he was with the Copts in Egypt first, Antoine, and then he went into Tibet, and then he went into India. Yeah, that's why I say people don't even understand that whole Catholic thing and all the rest of that. But the Copts were a little bit different, yeah. He may have started the Coptic church himself. Yeah, he may have. Because again, he was a Jew by blood, but he was not a religious Jew. He was an Edomite, and the Edomites did not F with Yahweh, period. He was an Essene. They ain't fool with Yahweh neither. But people, again, that's one of the things that Christianity just lumps everything together. Everybody think that because somebody say they're a Jew, that all Jews are the same. There's a bunch of different sects of Judaism, just like it's a bunch of different sects of Christianity, just like it's a bunch of different sects of Islam. And Yeshua was, a lot of them do worship Yahweh, but the Edomites do not. That's one of the reasons the scripture said, Esau have I hated and Jacob have I loved. The Edomites were descendants of the Esau line. And hundreds of years later, Yahweh still, he doubled down in Amos about how, I mean, Obadiah, I think it was. No, it was the book of Amos, I think, that he doubled down about how bad he still hated the Edomites because he hated the Edomites because they gave refuge to Esau. Hey, Skin by Lauren, welcome in, welcome in. Because shamanic healer, they don't teach us how to use our magic, because if we use our magic appropriately, we wouldn't be stuck and bound to them. They gave us black magic, binding spells. They've given us a broken black mirror to basically keep us stuck in the 3D worshiping them, because they feed off our energy, our discontent, the unrest, the wars, all of that stuff that's going on in the world. We say, why ain't there no peace? Because those beings, the scriptures even tell you, we war not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. Negative energy creates what's called loosh. And those energetic beings literally feed off of it, like using us for batteries. They told you that in the Matrix. They just didn't put the spiritual connotation to it, but they showed you in the Matrix the powers that were. They said the machines, that's the only difference, but they said that they were using humans as batteries. Well, these beings do the same thing, but they feed off of our negative energy, and they've kept negative energy going on this planet to keep us stuck. When Thoth reached his point of enlightenment, he said rather than continue on throughout the dimensions, he wanted to stay amongst the children of men to help them reach enlightenment too, to basically break the bonds that his uncle and the rest of those who roll with him had placed humanity under. We have been bound by ritual and worship and subterfuge and, like I said, magic rituals. Everything Christianity do, go and look up the nature of the holidays. Every single one of what y'all call holy days within Christianity is a pagan black magic ritual, especially that whole resurrection thing. That was a curse upon the line of Yeshua and those who participate in that with him. And then that whole drink of my blood and eat of my flesh, that's a satanic ritual. And then they top it off with a fertility ritual to Inanna. And then tell us don't use magic, don't use divination, don't use crystals, don't use herbs. And they steadily using all of that stuff against you, keeping you afraid to use the things that can help you and keeping you bound and stuck to all that other stuff. Yeah, Natalie. But again, you got to know who you looking to, because Enki and Yahweh, the ascended masters, and certain angels, all angels ain't even good to work with, because the ones that's on team Yahweh will keep you stuck too. Yahweh got some of the same stuff his brother got. So you have to know and understand what team you're on. Pick a team and play hard. In the book of Enoch, it tells us clearly now, again, there's thousands of angels, because angel only means messenger, so it depends on who you're working with. But the basic ones that are outlined in the book of Enoch that we know are on team Enki would be Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Phanuel, um, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel. A binding spell is something to keep you bound and stuck, shamanic. Now I'm beginning to wonder if you for real, if you just trolling. Yeah, you can kind of. And here's when I say bound, I mean keeping you stuck to something. For example, in Deuteronomy, when it says that any man hung on a tree is cursed, and that if a man is hung on a tree, if you don't get his body down from that tree before sunset, even the ground is cursed. People who would actually participate in that would also be bound to that because of participating in that. And a binding spell, the main one, that Amen thing, Amun Ra decreed and declared by law when Marduk was in Egypt ruling as Amun Ra. He decreed that he didn't care what Elohim you call yourself worshiping, all prayers were to be closed with the word Amen. So it would redirect all prayers back to him, so that we would be spiritually, mentally bound or stuck to him and his beliefs and ways, regardless whether you thought you was praying to somebody else or not. That's a binding spell. And he, no, yeah. But like you say, you can free yourself from them by refusing to stay in them. Hey, 5W33P3R. No, I'm not talking about voodoo. I'm not talking about a literal battery 5W33. You might want to listen and learn before you just bebop up here trying to be cute, because that kind of ignorance will have you being used as a battery. I'm not talking about an actual battery. They feed off what's called loosh. It is literally spiritual energy that's generated by negativity, stress, strife, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And they told us in the Matrix that we're batteries. So you can argue against it if you want. That'll make you a big double D battery. No, the 5W3, whoever you are, be quiet and learn or leave, please. Prana is in the fish. You mean piranha? It's a few more letters in that. Prana is not a fish. Prana is life force, energy, and air. You making yourself sound real ignorant. Be quiet and listen, or go somewhere. You ain't no sweeper. You just anyway. I'm finna ignore you because we ain't got time for that kind of ignorance. We really don't. If you don't think that the Matrix was based on something real, then you really are ignorant and stuck, and I pity you. The Matrix was one of the most important movies that they made since they've been doing cinematography. And if it went over your head, then that's too bad because you didn't get it. Everybody, so like I said, the vast majority of folks that's ever seen it understood that it was important. But you want to be automatically just uh, dismissive of it, then that's on you. Bye, sweeper. I ain't got time for you. I'm gonna ignore what you talking about because everybody else understand it. Really, could nobody else really have played that role but him. He did just fine, and then built a whole career behind that. So, whatever. Go on about your business, please, because that's definitely not where we're going in our conversation. We're talking about real stuff and people's spirituality and what we need to be understanding so that we can get unstuck, not just stay stuck in some lightweight conversations like you have trying to draw back. You aren't a sweeper, you're what they call an interloper. I should call you Agent Smith too, because that's what you're trying to be. You a different type of troll, but you still a troll because we literally been here talking for almost 2 hours. You have no idea what we're talking about, but want to bebop up in the live stream and just take over with a bunch of foolishness. You're an Agent Smith. You can raise your vibration by clearing your thought patterns, clearing your diet, clearing your energy, balancing your chakras, grounding, meditation. There's a lot of different things involved in raising your vibration. For sure, breath work. I recommend, but if like I said, now if you're in an area where you can't safely do it for health reasons because of the ground being too cold or whatever, but barefoot meditation while doing breath work is awesome for clearing your energy and balancing things. Yeah. And it goes without saying for most people, but I'm not going to assume people know this because, again, I have to look at the nature of the comments that's come in and what people are asking about. Do understand that you are a transmitting and receiving mechanism. So if you call yourself trying to raise your vibration, it's very important what you allow to enter into your eyes and your ears, just as much as what enters into your mouth. There's a lot of stuff out there in mainstream television, media, and all of that that you simply cannot partake in anymore if you truly want to raise your vibration. Because there's a lot of things that are out there in media that's deliberately in designed to lower your vibration. We talked about some of them earlier. Look at the agendas that have been pumped into mainstream by shows like The Kardashians, Real Housewives of with all them different places, the vampire shows, The Walking Dead, all people. Oh, it's just entertainment. No, it ain't. It's not just entertainment. You keep feeding yourself on a diet of that stuff, you'll keep your energy someplace you don't need or want it to be. And for whatever you do, truthfully, I don't recommend having a television in your bedroom. But if you insist on having a television in your bedroom, whatever you do, please don't go to sleep with it on. That thing is for real. It sends out frequencies and subliminal programming and all kinds of stuff. Because you talk about why are others siphoning your energy and manifesting their dream life? Because you let them. Because you don't believe this is real. I've been trying to tell you this stuff and you steadily arguing against it. You've allowed yourself to be a battery. You let them tap a vein and harvest right on up off of you. And they'll keep doing it too, as long as whether you want to believe it or not. Like I mentioned before, you don't have to believe electricity is real. If you stick your finger in a light socket, you find out that it kind of sort of is. So you can argue against the things that we're talking about and don't want to wake up and don't want to ascend and don't want to learn all this and want to keep worshiping and doing all the stuff you're doing, and you'll stay stuck right there with them and they'll keep feeding off of you. And if you want to put it, by becoming knowledgeable and powerful and ascending. They can't swap your destiny unless you give it to them. If you continue to give it to them, and your ignorance you may have, but when somebody you're being sent to a place to start awakening you and giving you the information, one of the ways you can stop it is from stop fighting against your own ascension and learn some of this stuff. Go do your homework. I'm not asking you to believe what I'm saying just because I said it, but everything I say, you can go somewhere else and get verification and confirmation of it. Start there. And the thing that gives me what people don't even understand in the church is one of the biggest destiny swaps you'll ever have. Have you not noticed in these bigger churches, they always preaching about how, oh, well, we're gonna suffer here, we're gonna do this and do that, and if you got it going too good, you might want to be a little worried because the devil, that mean the devil, they ain't got no use for what he only taunts those that he don't have and all that kind of stuff. They make you believe that you're supposed to suffer. If you're doing it right, you're supposed to suffer. Meanwhile, the pastor is living in a big house with his Rolex and driving his Bentley and taking vacations. Some of them got 2 or 3 private jets and the whole nine. They are siphoning your energy and your wallet. And they do it in the Christian church. They do it in the in the Jewish synagogues, and they do it in the Muslim masjid. Honestly, that's one of the things I said that earlier on in one of the videos I had out. My desk wasn't, it was arranged a different way, and I was doing a reading or something, and I was telling people, if you really are at that point that you really are wanting to use YouTube to help with your ascension, I highly recommend, if you can afford it, get YouTube Premium, because they'll continue, especially if you really using YouTube for your spiritual stuff. If you in the middle of a meditation track, you really don't want to hear 2 or 3 commercials for this, that, or the third, and have to come out of meditation and hit skip and come out of meditation, or else sit there and listen to it, because they're going to try to match commercials based on what you're getting. And in the spiritual space, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot, so you're going to wind up listening to a bunch of church propaganda for a bunch of religious nonsense. Or sometimes they'll get it completely wrong and it'll just be stuff that don't have nothing. But yeah, they're full-blown propaganda videos, Christian apologists, or this, all kinds of stuff, vax stuff, the political agendas, because in spirituality it's hard for them to exactly match your algorithm. So you're going to just get that blanket of all of that stuff. It's literally like spiritual diarrhea just coming at you when you're trying to train your algorithm that way. So yeah, if you can afford to have YouTube Premium, it is absolutely worth it if you're using YouTube as University of YouTube to assist with your ascension. No, you ain't gonna siphon my energy without me knowing because I know what you attempting to do, but I'm here to teach. So here's the thing. I'm only speaking to you because I've allotted a certain amount of time to sit here and teach anyway. And you raise all of these questions in here. I don't know whether you're genuinely wanting to know or you just attempting to be a troll. But either way, I can still answer the question responsibly so that whomever else may be listening or who might come along and watch this video later on when it's uploaded from the live stream will not be led astray by your so-called slick questions, but I can actually answer real questions that they might genuinely want to have. I know, exactly. I honestly, you say you genuinely want to know. I don't feel like you are either. Because what is an overactive throat chakra right now? You got overactive finger chakras. You're somebody that do way more talking than they willing to do listening. They claim they're interested, but they steadily arguing against. That's an overactive throat chakra. hmm You come in here and ask a question, and then when I answer it, you steadily pushing against. Now, we're not actually having a conversation where you're physically using your throat chakra, but you typing out the same kind of diarrhea that you would be spewing out your mouth instead if we were actually having a conversation. Yep, gossip, verbal aggression. And truthfully, I'm about to say you couldn't do this in person because, in all honesty, if we were actually having a conversation in person, I would be able to pick up more on your energy and I know whether you were sincere or not. And the moment whether I thought you started out as sincere or not, I'm not going to wrestle with nobody for very long about their spirituality. If you want to hear what I got to say, I'm more than willing to help you because I was stuck at one point too. And I'm glad to share what my spirit team has allowed me to know. But what I ain't going to do is sit up and argue with somebody that don't want to hear it. I got too much other stuff to do with my life. Wait a minute. What'd you say, Paul? Trying to see what else you had said earlier. You see, you did agree from a pack owner. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. I can't say that we actually having a spiritually intelligent conversation because a conversation is an exchange of dialogue between two people, and thus far, everything that I've said so far, you come back with something completely different with. So it's not a conversation. I'm attempting to have some spiritual dissemination of information, but a conversation between two people, no, we're not. Oh, but shamanic said dogs don't return to their own vomit, but he's steadily returning to his or hers because several times I done tried to explain to him stuff, and then he's still talking about who should he worship and how should he do this and that, all that other stuff. So he can say a dog, because there is a scripture in this, I think in the Bible, it talks about a dog don't return to his own vomit, but they actually some of them will, and I've seen them do it. So that's not even a true statement. But in his case, if you're asking for a question and somebody's genuinely answering and you want to turn right back around and argue against them, that is like a dog returning to his own vomit. Sorry about that, y'all. I needed to get that hydrogen water before the hydrogen was out of it. I've got to get one more in me today. But yeah. Oh, okay. Sometimes we have great conversations, but we don't bogart the whole thing. Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll come back and they'll figure out because we got, like I said, we just today we was just kind of freestyling. I do have some stuff that I've heard of Sadhguru, but honestly, I'm not that impressed with where they've gone to. There's a lot of folks that put themselves in a position of guru that, in my, I think they may start out with good intentions, but sometimes I think some folks, when they get in that position, it kind of goes to their head. Some of them don't maintain their spirituality. Some of them just be talking to hear themselves talk. I don't know. Uh, I used to listen to some of what Sadhguru says, but I started kind of feeling a little bit of an egoic blend in there that I just kind of peeled away from him. And I don't consider myself a guru, and I'm not trying to be a guru. No, I don't. Look, people, if you like channeled information, Bashar has some information for you. But if you notice, Bashar doesn't get into anything lengthy spiritual. People that channel certain things have a limited area of expertise that they teach, like Abraham and Esther. If you want to learn the basics of law of attraction or whatnot, she's been basically talking about the same thing for the last 30 or 40 years. And ain't nothing wrong with that. She got to go with what she know. Bashar is on his thing. Cryon is on their thing. So I'm not saying it's not a good thing or a bad thing. But for me, when I started learning, I'm not trying to stay stuck in one spot forever. Once I done chewed all the flavor out the gum, I go on some get me a different stick of gum. So I can't say that if somebody decided to look at any of those people like a guru, that means that you're just going to be standing around following that one person for the next 20 or 30 years. You're not going to advance spiritually. I have no idea. No, he's talking about Cryon, Antoine, not Chiron. Chiron is a tarot reader. Cryon is a social memory complex, if you will, that is channeled by Lee Carroll. And Lee Carroll is an older gentleman. He's been channeling Cryon for about 20 or 30 years now. Um, but I still wouldn't necessarily, even with Cryon, he talks about things. I've even, on the channel, I've posted the Light Workers Handbook. I think that is a wonderful place for people that are beginning, like really at a certain point in their spiritual development. I think that's something that everybody should take the time to listen to. Do I sit around and listen to Chiron all day? No, I don't need to, because he basically, it feels good, and those who are ready and want to hear him pay good money to go sit up and hear him. But after a while, after you done listen to a dozen Chiron talks, they're all kind of the same. I don't serve, actually, truthfully, shamanic, I serve Yeshua in the truest sense of the word more now than I ever did as a Christian, because I'm genuinely a follower of Yeshua. He's my main guide. Why do you think I'm saying the things that I'm saying? I am picking up and clarifying his actual ministry to people, letting people know that what y'all think he would, what Christianity, what the church done told you he was saying and doing here on earth, is not actually what he said or what he was doing. And I go back into the Gospel of John and discuss at length his ministry almost every time I come on a video or a live stream or whatever. So I truly do serve him. I don't worship him, but I am an Anunnaki Oracle priestess under Yeshua and Lord Inky. That's the part you don't understand. But I don't have to worship either one of them to do that. But I do serve them. No, you said if I follow that guide, isn't that lost essentially the same as staying stuck? Be still and know that I am God. Look, that be still and know that I am God, that's a message from Yahweh, and I don't have to do that. No. But I do understand that this book, even though it was assembled in a certain way to create a certain narrative, a lot of these older texts were taken from other older texts, and there is some benefit in them, especially the older ones. I don't do a whole lot of, there's some good stuff you can cherry pick out of the New Testament, but for the most part, other than the Gospel of John, I don't really mess with the New Testament that much, other than John and Revelation. I take what I can out of it and leave the rest, like I same way I would with the Talmud, same way I would with the Quran. I'm just not as familiar with those texts, and there's no need for me to go traipsing through them because I've got a whole lot of other texts that my guides have led me to that I need to get through first. But I'm able to use this as a reference because of my upbringing in a very strict Christian household. I was taught to read from the Bible by the age of 2 with a belt. So before the age of 3, I could read on like a fourth or fifth grade level by the age of 3. And I was taught from this book. So I know what's in this book. There's no reason for me to throw everything out just because I learned the truth of how they manipulate it and how they're misusing it. I can still teach from it. No, I'm not perverting the gospel. No, no, sir. The gospel is a perversion of what Yeshua said. You gonna have to go because you really not trying to understand nothing I'm saying. I haven't perverted the gospel. The gospel is perverted out the gate. Don't you understand that? I'm just got through telling you. Yeshua done told you this whole the gospel idea that Christianity done put forth. The same people that wrote Christianity into a religion is the same people that killed Yeshua. That's the part Christians don't understand. When the Bible say they delivered him up to the Romans, who the hell do you think they is, and who do you think the Romans are? The Jews wanted Yeshua dead, and they wanted him dead so bad they didn't want to do it themselves, so they put the Romans up to doing it. Emperor Tiberius, Pontius Pilate, those are the ones who actually unalived him. And 300 years later, Constantine wrote Christianity into existence and used Yeshua as the bridge to bring the Jewish story forward and morph it into the Jehovah story. Same deity, same no good storm god that was lied to the Jews and brought all of the plagues and the spells and all the rest of that stuff, the same one that treated them so dirty that they stopped worshiping him 2 or 3 times. They lied and used Yeshua's death as an excuse to push Yahwism out into the rest of the world in the name of Christianity. That's what this really is. Jesus didn't create the Bible, shamanic. Goodbye. No, bye. Goodbye. I'm done with that. I have nothing else to say to you because I done talked to you for the better part of 2 hours and you right back in a worse place than we started. You're not sincere and you ain't trying to learn Jack Diddley. Good night. Peace be upon you. Bye. Hey, environment. How are you? He ain't a shaman or a healer. No, he's a blowing trumpet, a clinging blast. What is that? What the scriptures talk? A clanging brass cymbal, making a lot of noise and actually just detracting from truth. He ain't lending to nothing. He or she, whomever they are, no, they're not here to benefit nothing. But thank you for your time. I will remember. So when you come bebopping back up in here, Shamana Healer, I know not to waste my time trying to talk to you. How can you get to be a guru? God help the person that follow you. I hope they do. I hope you don't. You on your way out, Natalie? I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Good night. Oh, you say you on your way out too, Paul? Yeah, I ain't far behind because this is pointless. This is absolutely pointless. I'm glad you did learn though, because we did, like I said, we had a basically good conversation. But at the end of all of that, for them to come back with what they're saying now, I know that that's not a sincere person. That is absolutely 100% a troll. Again, completely miserable. But that's okay. And yeah, it is after 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna get rolling too, so I can get myself together and get some content on the other channel. And for those that choose to join me over there, I will be there like 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Oh, ain't no need to be sorry. Cause like you said, we had a good. Hey, enlightenment. No, no, ain't no. Cause you just popped up in here, enlightenment 888. I don't need. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm not giving you another 15 minutes at all. Nope. Bye. But thank you for letting me know that you're also enlightenment 8. And you got a real bad habit. You picking all the wrong names because ain't nothing enlightened about the way you're behaving. You needed to be silenced. That's why. Good night. But the rest of y'all, if you care to join me tomorrow on Anunnaki Oracle Priestess, I'll be there at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. For the rest of you, this is Tuesday night. Yeah, I'll be back on Modern Mystic Messages on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Those who were actually able to learn and grow and all the rest. Until then, peace and blessings to you. I love you. Namaste. Right, Natalie, I see that. Yep. It's a beautiful day environment. And I know I'm so sorry that I keep getting you. I know your time thing is really, really off or different. But yeah. Thank you, Glove 300. I love you too. Have a great evening and I'll see y'all on the next one. Take care.